name's Woodson Gardner. I'm here with Steve Schwartz. I'm going to let Steve take it away because this is going to be a really fun training of very practical things you can do to ensure the longevity of your business. So today we're going to talk about some big concepts that you're going to work on within yourself, and then we're going to break it down into all of the how-tos in the weeks to come, and I think it's going to be really effective. I'm really excited about what Steve has in store. So with all of that, Steve, I'm going to turn it over to you.
Okay, everyone, welcome. And I just wanted to say good morning. I know people might be listening to this recording whenever you might be listening to it. If you're out for a run, start running faster and start pumping your legs harder. Here we go. So today, we just go ahead and kick it off. Woodson, go ahead and move forward. We're going to basically our agenda normally is around these things. We're going to do, we're going to focus in on a person here in a second. But I wanted to give you some bigger concepts. I want to give you some bigger concepts so you can have some ideas about the stages of network marketing growth. I just was in the 6- and 7-figure earner academy over in Las Vegas with Ariix. Now, it's interesting. I saw old friends of mine from the past and other people that I've known in the industry that have really I've been around them. Gosh, not in my company, but just I know these people. Known them for probably over 12 years, and they've stuck with what they're doing, and they're unshakable. They've been in the same business, and they're just doing awesome. So some of the things that Ariix covered when he first started talking to us, and there was people in the room that had made over $80 million in commissions. There was at least 10 people who had earned over $30 million in commissions over their lifetime in the business, and that's huge. And so with knowing all of that, let me just do something here. Knowing all of that, basically, you were around people that have done it, right? And it was over 500 people that were there, like 400 people in this room. And so anyway, Ariix covered some things that I thought were pretty cool. And one of the big things is basically the stages of network marketing growth. And so when you first start, like when I first started, no one knew who I was. I was nobody. I was invisible, basically, right? So it was invisible to average, right? And the way you go from invisible to average is basically through recruiting. Okay, and so that's what you have to do. And the whole misnomer that you're going to sign up 2 people, and that just really isn't reality. That's like we'd like to say that, but a lot of people like to say that. But the reality is you're going to be recruiting more people into the company. Now, I'm not saying you're not getting customers, but for you to become a leader, from going from where no one knows who you are, not that you're just trying to be known, but like where you're making a name for yourself as far as building your team, and it's not just about recognition; it's about you advancing and making it into a business that's earning income. So you're going to go from invisible to average. It's all about recruiting, okay? And that's where you start to emerge, and then they start to see you kind of like we have a couple of our people that are in our company that have moved from like, who are these people, to they're some of the top recruiters in the company right now, and they're starting to get known. Now, for them to go from average, to leader, it's all about getting other people to help you. Duplication isn't always the easiest thing to accomplish, and everyone's always trying to figure it out. But basically, for you to get other people that they're able to get customers, they're able to get reps. That's where you have your duplication. And when you can get that going, then you can start optimizing lines. Then you can start, getting your $1,000, $2,000, $2,500 a week, because you have a couple of people on your team that have turned into leaders because they're duplicating in your organization. It's not just a couple, but you probably identified a few people. And I've just got to tell you, I'm going to stop on this point real fast. And a lot of people don't look at network marketing in the right way. If you could find a new leader every year, and let's just say you did that for 5 years. So the first year you're like, man, I'm just trying to be the leader myself. Like I remember my first year, $6,300 in commissions. Woohoo, right? Like you would say, well, that's not that great. Well, I was kind of participating, but wasn't really. I was making a little bit of money, but really wasn't going all in. I was still, trying to get my head around what I was going to do. Was I going to do it? Was I going to stay with it? All of these things. And then I had reasons to make it happen. And so I said, I'm going to make it happen. And I made most of that money in that year. I started like in the February of the year. I made most of that money from November through December, really. That's where most of that income was earned. And that's when I turned it into something that became a full-time income. But it was my first year. It wasn't big. I didn't even have any leaders. I was the leader, right? There was nobody. It was me, right? The second year, I found one leader, right? And then it was me and this other leader. And there was other people on the team. It wasn't just me and him, all right? There was other people. But then I made over $53,000 part-time, had a full-time job at Dell while I was doing that. And then I found another leader, and then I made over 130 grand, right? And then I found another leader, and then I made over 250 grand, and then I was like, well, that's pretty good. This is way more than I was making before. And I kind of settled in right on that income. I mean, and that was pretty good for me. And in that company, it was, not easy to make that kind of income. So anyway, find a new leader every year. You have to become the leader first. That's duplication. And then go from leader to legendary. It's all about promotion, right? It's all about promoting and making things known and putting things out there and promoting the conventions, promoting things, promoting people, all of that stuff. And that's where we really move into. So we'll jump through. So I hope that kind of makes sense to you. And then I'm going to cover these other two concepts real fast. And if you've been watching the broadcast from Ariix, you've probably seen this stuff as well. But I just wanted to kind of put my 2 cents in on it. And then there's the 4 phases of a network marketing career, right? And first, you're a faker, right? You're just kind of like, hey, I'm into this. You're not sure. Some people are faking it until they make it or whatever. I don't know that that's the best way to do it because you still know you're faking. So you're kind of faking that you're making it happen, and you're saying that you're positive, but maybe everything's not so positive, right? So you're putting that front out there, and you're really wanting to make it happen. So you're a faker. The second one, and there's a bad saying out there sometimes, do whatever it takes. I've seen people do whatever it takes, and they don't treat people right. I've seen people do whatever it takes, and they sign people up, never talk to them ever again. I've seen people do that. I've done it before, and it's not good, right? And so you don't want to be a taker, right? You got to get away from there. And then the third phase really is like a fighter, right? And this is where people will say, they'll talk about, you'll see people that walk around with shirts that say haters on them, I love haters, I love my haters, or, let your haters be your motivators. And, one of the things that's interesting, as Ariix was saying, I was doing this, he's 50 years old now, 45 years old, he goes, I was a fighter until I was 45, fighting against the company, fighting against this, fighting against that, fighting against other reps, causing trouble. This is where the drama happens. There's a lot of people stay in this drama. Oh, did you hear about so-and-so? Did you hear this? Did you hear that? And this is where you got to get away from. And so he changed his motto from let the haters be my motivators to just let the haters be. And he just kind of let it all go. And I have to tell you, this is where a lot of people waste their time in this business. They're over there and they're talking about other people. They're doing this. It's politics. You get out of politics and into production. And that's where you have to get out of there. And, we all can learn a lesson from this, from, being a fighter. And then you want to be a giver. And you'll see these people, they travel everywhere. They go all over the place. They'll do trainings. They invite everybody onto their trainings. They don't have their little team that they're trying to hold on to. They're, giving, and they want to, that's the phase where we all want to move into, right? That's where the phase that we all want to get into. Ariix University isn't about me. It isn't about Woodson. It's about getting information out there so more people can get great information about Ariix. Is it the only information? No way. It's not even, but that's what we're working for. And this is really the phases of a career in network marketing. So I want you to think about this. And then I want you to think about one other concept. And Ariix did a good job. He drew this. I should probably have just done this drawing. He did this drawing of a river, like we put, but this is the river, and so you have the water washing around, and in the middle there's a rock, right? And there's this big boulder, and the water moves around it, and and so you're in your network marketing business, you are either the rock or the river. If you are knocked off track when the company changes something in their policies or in their plans, and I know in Ariix we really don't have those issues like that, but if something came out and they said, we got a price increase, we got to, and then you let that, oh man, I can't believe they raised the prices of this stuff. What is, man, don't they know what they're doing? And so you are thrown off course. So you're the river, and you got to decide: are you going to be unshakable? Are you going to be the rock? Nothing's going to move you off your plate. You know where you're at, and you're unshakable. And if you're not, if you're the river, then you're either river people or rock people, right? And so if somebody leaves your organization and you let that become your whole center place, because people are going to come and go in this business, because it's a business about people. That's what happens. And so, the river never gets to the top. The river never gets to the top. River people don't make it to the top. The rock is the only place you want to be if you want to be successful in this business. Unshakable, unmovable, undistractable. The river has to flow around. The river river people are basically all the distractions, but the rock does not move, okay? So you want to be the rock. You don't want to let all these little things bother you. Stuff's going to happen. People are going to have relationships. Different things are going to happen. People are going to come and go. But you've got to be that unshakable person if you really want to make this business rock and roll. And the problem is, back in like the 80s, Herbalife, about the only distraction they had was maybe Shackley. Someone joined Shackley. Today, somebody comes in and they get online, and next thing you know, they're all doing all these online lead systems and all of these things, and they're all over the place, and they're basically totally distracted from the basics of what built the network marketing business in the first place. The thing that made this industry great has been morphed, changed, and screwed up over the last 10 years so bad. That's why so many companies have come and gone, because they're not following the principles of what made network marketing the true business that it is. It's you talking to another person. You don't want to write a list, then go do something else. Go back and keep your job. You don't want to talk to people then go do something else. All right? Because if you open a restaurant, you would invite hey man, you want to come check out my restaurant? Absolutely. Hey, would you mind coming and checking it out? Maybe buying a meal, whatever. Of course, you would ask people to do that. So don't feel bad because you joined a business that you have products and things that could help people. Ask them to try it out. I mean, why not? And so I just want you to think about that. Are you the rock or the river? Are you complaining, or are you making something happen, and are you finding a way to make it work? So there you go, Woodson. So what I wanted to do now is bring on a special guest. I want to shift into giving you a story about someone in our team, a story about someone who is just amazing. Oh, we're going to do this team culture real fast. But we're going to do this, and this is what we really want to be doing.
But I think this is huge, the team culture part. I mean, Steve, I think this is something that people need to write down and put a sticky note. Like, I wrote this down and put a sticky note on my bathroom mirror. I put it on my kitchen cabinet where all my daily routine Ariix supplements are. And I actually wrote it. I went and got a day timer yesterday, old school, because when I write things down, they tend to sink in more than when I key them in. And I'm not kidding you. I'll take a screenshot of my new little day timer with our team culture on it. When you shared this with me, it really struck a chord. So I hope that it does with everybody else. I didn't mean to interrupt you, but I mean,
you're and by the way,
very important. I think this is huge. Okay, go ahead.
No, absolutely. And I've been talking a little bit because I wanted to cover the first part, because we're going to spend a lot of time with Woodson here in a second. But Woodson, what you just said motivated me. Like what you just said. And listen, guys, team cultures don't happen in 1 week. You don't go, oh, well, this is it. We're the best trained team, man. We like products, make money, special fun, mentions. We're good. Okay, that was nice. Next slide. No, I mean, it's going to take a little while, and some of these things will change. But one of the things that I always wanted to have, and what I always had, is my people knew what they were doing. I think there's a big problem in all entrepreneurship is really messed up around one critical skill, and it's one everyone likes to avoid, and it's called how to talk to somebody, right? It's communication training, and people are so terrible at it. I've been at different internet marketing trainings and all of these different things that have been going around, and I was like, you know what? All of these people, I've got the best business of any of these people. I'm not, I should be training your butts on how to do stuff, because y'all don't even know how to talk to anybody. It's ridiculous. And communication training is huge. And so we want to have the best trained team. And throughout Ariix, we want to have not just my team, everybody's team. We want Ariix to be a professional organization, all right? And so professional organizations must have skills. If you don't have skills, you'll have no money. You're not going to have money. And with our business, raving product fans, we have so many of those. And so we're gonna keep promoting that, because if your products, if every one of you doesn't have a water bottle that you drink from, and I'm guilty of it too, if all of you don't have a blue or a metal, like the stainless steel water bottle that you're drinking from, then you know what? What are you doing? Like, get one, right? Like, if you think the bottled water is good, yeah, does it take a little bit to suck it through? Yeah, but you know what? It's better than, you better have that be the filter than you be the filter. So everybody better have one. We're at a convention, there better be 3,000 water bottles in the audience, and everyone's losing them. So get yourself a plastic water bottle, because it's part of being a raving product fan, all right? And making money, professional, having fun, like, we got to have fun. I mean, not everyone wants to be so stiff and crazy, but you got to be professional. If you show up to the convention in your freaking jeans, you're an idiot. Okay, I don't care. I'm sorry. Maybe not an idiot, but you should put on a better a better show. Like when a company puts a convention together and they spend $300 grand and you show up in your like flip-flops, are you crazy? In shorts. I did it. I used to show up in shorts. I went against wanting to have a suit on so bad. I mean, you got to be professional and you got to pay respect back to the company. And so that's what I would say. You know, maybe an idiot is probably not the best thing I said there, but just you got to be professional, right? And you know, and sometimes, you know, but I see some people get away with it, man. Like I saw a dude at this Ariix Warrior event. Guy always wears big Tommy Bahama. He's huge. He's really overweight. He wears Tommy Bahama shirts and shorts, and he just doesn't. But if everybody in the convention dressed like that, what would that look? That would look silly. All right. So, but he gets away with it, and so we want to make sure we have a professional team. You look good. You know, and and Woodson's going to be hitting on that at some point here very soon. So, and we really have to get as many people at the convention as possible. I mean, this is something that I want you to think about, and this hit me right in the face. Okay, when you look at it, you think of the people that you're going to get to the convention that are in your team, not just that are in RF, but that are in your pay lines and in your organization, that are part of your organization. You can just basically count $1,000, you can equate it to about the amount of money you're going to earn at the convention. So if you have 100 people at the convention that are in your organization, you're probably making about $100,000 a year, okay? It's pretty, $1,000 per person. So if you have two, you might be making about $2,000 a year, okay? If you have 250,000. If you had 1,000 people in your organization at the convention, well, you know, you're probably making you could be making up to $1 million, okay? So just think of it. Everyone that I have at convention is worth $1,000 of my income. Not that them being there, just the people that you have there. Just count it up. Everybody that's in your organization. So if you have 20 people there, you're about 20 grand. If you have 50 grand, you know?
Yeah.
And but that'll catapult itself. So what do you think about that?
Can I piggyback that? I really want to piggyback what you said on convention. If I had not attended my first annual convention, and guys, you're going to hear my story in a minute, but I went from the penthouse to the outhouse really, really quick. And it was right when I was coming into network marketing. And we looked pretty, we smelled pretty, everybody, you know, thought, but our financial life was a train wreck. And to go to convention, I'm just going to tell you, we went in our motorhome. We could not afford a hotel. We camped out in the parking lot, and people thought that that was very glamorous. They had no idea the situation we were in. We went to convention. No one knew who we were. And the industry that I was in had collapsed. And so network marketing, I was like, this could really, really work. And these people are really, really great. But I need to figure this out. And so I had a general admission badge. I sat in the very, very tippy top of a basketball arena where this convention was. No one knew my name. And being there, even though I was there by myself, when I saw person after person walk across that stage, and this is not disrespectful at all, I just went, I could do, those people aren't any different than me. This works. It raised my faith. It helped instill confidence in myself that I was capable. And I sat there going, if I had 20 people with me, 10 people with me, 50 people with me, seeing what I'm seeing and feeling what I'm feeling, I'm telling you right now, we would come out of here like our heads were on fire. And so I absolutely went on a mission to get as many people to experience what I experienced. And within 3 years, and it was all because of being a promoter, of getting people to events, I can tell you I earned $1 million in network marketing in less than 4 years, not because I'm anything special, but because I got people to big things, because I could not even express. All of you on here are leaders. I know good and well your faith raises, your energy raises, your willingness to help people raises, you wanting to share it with more people raises at every big event you plug into. And the convention this year, they're pulling out all the stops. I know people are going to have to get plane tickets on my group. I'm trying to figure out what incentives I can do month after month after month almost like a Christmas club, to where if we can do an extra $100 here, $150 here, I can help them have their trip paid for, put aside with little promos that we're doing, and Steve and I are really going to be active in that to get everybody there and take finances off the table and also get their teams there. I am real, you guys, I'm probably going to be really obnoxious about promoting for convention and big events, because shame on me for getting that feeling 5 years ago or 6 years ago when I was first exposed to this industry. It's actually 5 years ago this month. So I'm just telling you that's where it's at. And when Steve brought this to my attention, I went, yeah, we've got to create that in our team culture with everything else, but we've got to express to people the importance of being there. So anyway, that was my little soapbox. Sorry about that, Steve. But, I mean, if I hadn't been to that first convention, I would not be in this industry today.
Same with me. I went by myself. I had 2 people that I didn't sponsor that were my downline. I didn't even know who they were. But I went in my shorts, like looking like I was too cool for school. And but I took in all the stuff, and it changed my whole belief. And I'll tell you this much: if you miss an event, like we're gonna have other events going on, and so I figured out, even when I had a job, like I didn't have all the money to do it, but I was like, man, I got to go to Orlando. I don't even, like, I live in, like, Texas. I got to go to Orlando. I don't know why I got to go to Orlando, but I got to go to Orlando. I got to get to that event. I got to go to Chicago. I don't know why I got to go to Chicago, but I'm going. And I got to tell you, I didn't miss any of the quarterly events. Guys, we have WOW events coming up in Florida in February. You better go. I don't care where you live. Get your butt over there, all right, and figure it out, because you'll be changed by being around it. You sit at your house and watch the WOW event. That's cute and that's great. And if that's your last resort, fine. But if you really want to experience that, then you go there for a couple of days and you experience the whole thing, and you see other people. So, and if you miss a convention, you basically start all over. You just basically start all over in your business. So if you like to start all over, well, you know what? A lot of people like drama, but I would rather not start all over. Okay. So with that, guys, this is what we're working on. We want to be the best trained. You know, that means you guys understand inviting formulas. That means you understand how to talk to people. You understand direct approaches. You understand how to talk to someone so you can get them as a customer. And you just do simple things every day. And so what I wanted to do is, Woodson kind of gave it away there. We're gonna talk about Woodson Gardner. We're gonna learn about Woodson. We're gonna learn things about Woodson. You guys have no idea, and it's gonna be fun. And she put some crazy pictures out there. So today we're gonna meet Woodson Gardner, and you're gonna learn things about Woodson. And what I really want you to think about is all the people you know that have something in common with Woodson that could give you a reason to talk to someone. The reason you listen to stories. We're basically storytellers in this business, right? If you're out there doing facts, we're not in white lab coats, okay? People like to do the white lab coat and tell too much about the product ingredients and all of these things. You know, most people don't really care, all right? Straight up, they don't really care. Some people do. Give that to those people, but most people don't. And so you look at Woodson's background and all of her things, and you think of people that you start writing names down of people that you think you could talk to, and you need to call those people immediately after or text them and say, hey, lunch next week, go back to the text. Hey, I want to sit down. I saw something, I want to run something past you. And just say, okay, good. And set that appointment today. All right? So Woodson, tell us a little bit about yourself. You know, where do you live? What's your situation? You know, like, a little bit of your background, and then we'll just kick off into it.
Okay, I'm probably, after we do this, and please understand, this is uncomfortable. I love talking about other people and promoting them up, but I'm a regular person. We live just outside of Charlotte, North Carolina, in a little town called Concord, and we just live a wonderful, simple life. 2 kids, happily married. I'm just countryer than a turnip green, and I love that. And I have had a very big, adventuresome life, and it started off very, very humbly. But I can tell you that anything can happen if you want it to, if you open yourself up to it and just kind of get rid of like what we were talking about, the politicking and what other people think. It's very important to have a good reputation, but at the same token, other people's opinions and living in that box, it's really funny. I never realized that since I was a child, I was groomed to live outside of that box. And my parents did that because they were trying to get us not to fall into the traps that they did. So with that being said, I'm getting ready to show y'all a picture that is for real. That's me. That's my family. My mom was a school teacher, public school teacher. My dad was a parole officer. So they were both public servants, did not make a lot of money. They loved giving to other people, but they were also state employees. And we had no idea how poor we were until I was probably in junior high or high school. It became very evident, the struggle and what I would need to do to get out of it. But my mom and dad loved to sing. We loved to dance. My mom was the drama teacher at high school, and so we were in every dance class known to man. I didn't know that my mom couldn't afford for us to take all of those dance lessons. I took dance for 15 years and then another 3 years in college, and she would help with the costumes and the set designs and whatever to offset paying for our private lessons and all the different classes we did. We had no idea. And my mom and dad.
Hold on 1 second. This is like Saturday Night Fever meets Flashdance. I don't know what's going on.
Oh, totally.
Picture.
Okay. My mom and dad could dance. They're amazing dancers. They can ballroom dance. They can disco. They can shag. It's a real popular dance here in the South. And so, like, we do karaoke now. You think of karaoke bars where you can win a couple of $100. Well, back in the late 70s and early 80s, disco was the rage. So they would enter disco competitions, and they would dance and make extra money. And that extra money helped us immensely, and they were amazing at it. And so there are a lot of other horrific like this that my sister tortures me on Facebook with. So
your mom, you were telling me that your mom started a charm school?
Yeah, my mom she taught public speaking at the community college, and at night she would teach people how to give speeches and kind of groom themselves, whether it was somebody marrying into a wealthy family or people running for political office. She'd teach them what fort to use, how to go through a receiving line, and how to do speeches. And when we would do our homework at the dining room table, these people would practice in front of us. Some of them are very well-known congressmen and senators now, very wealthy people. And so then she started a charm school, and everybody, we had it at the local country club, and it was cotillion, and everybody did it, the guys, the girls. It was amazing. And she taught us all the social graces, and all of our friends and everyone in the community how to act like young ladies and young men. And yeah, that's what we did. That's how.
Awesome. I love that. I love that.
Yeah.
You know, because as a military officer, you know, we had to learn. Like a lot of people think it's just like the Army, it's some kind of Gomer Pyle thing or whatever. But I'm like, dude, are you kidding me? We had to learn all that stuff too. It's crazy. So, anyway.
Oh yeah.
All right. So what? Go ahead.
Oh,
you're growing up a little bit here. You're growing up here.
Yeah, but going through high school, it was always college, scholarships, education. I will never not education. I mean, that my parents said that was your ticket out of this little factory town. And so I would babysit. My mom and I started a singing telegram company, so I would tap dance in bank lobbies and deliver people flowers. I did a couple of marriage proposals. We had a boom box, and we would take popular songs on cassette, and we would rewrite the words and sing them really loud. And you know, and so anyway, in doing all of that, it was babysitting or delivering flowers. And through that, through different people, and actually through a young woman when I was a little girl, she was marrying into a very aristocratic family, and my mom helped her. Well, with all of that being said, they needed a nanny, and I was their live-in nanny for 6 summers. Now when I say this, I was the cook. I was there. I was changing diapers. They had twins. They had other kids. I was there when every single one of them was brought home from the hospital. I was their transportation. I was their second mommy. I was the one that when the thunderstorm came, they crawled into my bed. I was the one when they were throwing up in the middle of the night that sat up with them, singing them songs and rocking them. I loved them, but it was a 24/7 job. But this is where way before Rich Dad, Poor Dad came out, this is where it became painfully obvious to me the differences in wealthy families and regular families like me. What they talked about at the dining room table, their conversations were completely different than the ones we had growing up. what they were exposed.
Give me an example. Give me an example.
Okay, we would be at our dining room table, and it was great, kind of what did you do at school today, what's going on. It was kind of in the moment, in the present, maybe not talking about big ideas. At their dining room table, yes, they talked about what happened that day, but it was like, all right, what are we going to do? What are we going to plan for this fall? How are we going to get there? Well, okay, guys, what's everything from sports to how are we going to practice, to vacations, to, all right, what books are we reading right now? How are we going to help elevate others? It was a very giving family. They were very philanthropic, but it was also, they were personally developing their kids from day one. They were grooming them into being leaders, and I saw that with my own eyes. Those children would be dressed, like sometimes we would eat in the servant kitchen, and then sometimes they had heads of state. We had, I remember when Sandra Day O'Connor was their house guest, and I mean, she's a Supreme Court justice. And the kids,
I mean, are you kidding me? Like, it's amazing.
Yeah, and they would be there, and the children knew how to act. They knew when to speak, when not to speak, and they would listen. And then we would go to bed, and we would talk about things, and they would say, you know, they interpret laws that everyone follows, or they're writing legislation. How does that work? And we talked about being elected and stuff, and I thought, these kids are on a higher plateau, but they were still kids. They still talked about boogers. They still, you know, had frogs in their pockets. But they were on a different plateau, and that's where I realized money, whether good, bad, or indifferent, it determines where you live. It determines what you wear. It determines where you vacation. It determines the schools that your children go to. It determines the peer group typically they hang around. It determines the conversations and the culture they're exposed to. And that is where Will, the father, took me under his wing, and he said, I see you're really paying attention to a lot of stuff. And he goes, what do you want to do with your life? And I said, well, you know, I originally wanted to be a very high-paid executive and work, climb the corporate ladder. He goes, why would you ever want to do that? He goes, I scour networks to find people like you to hire to make me money. If you want to make money, you've got to get in the mindset that you're looking for other people to do what you need them to do, but you need to control the situation. You'll never get what you're looking at here being an employee. It will never happen. And that, when you're 17 years old, is a real eye-opener. He says, what you're chasing is for people like me to hire to help me make more wealth for my family. What you need to chase is a way to create this for yourself, but you're going to have to learn, and you're going to have to pay attention, and it's going to be the hardest work you've ever done in your life, but the payoff could be big. Those words have never left me, and I love that family. So that's my rich dad, poor dad, and being a servant inside of a home that at least gave me the opportunity to learn is the only reason why I was able to break the chain that my family has been in for years and years of kind of towing the line for other people. So anyway, that's
important. And you know, if you're somewhere, if you're sitting out there and you're like, well, you know, I don't have all that rich dad, poor dad thing, you know, why can't you be the rich dad? Why can't you make the decision right now and be that person? I mean, Lynn Ellen Johnson was, you know, and I'm not making fun. This is her words. She was, I was a chain smoking, working at this place till I was in my 50s. And I thought and I lived in an apartment by myself eating TV dinners, and I thought that's all it was. And then someone showed me network marketing, and I didn't do anything. A couple years later, she's like making like $20,000 a week. I mean,
yeah.
So you can change it whenever you want to, right?
And realize these people are just like us. They have the same problems. They have the same hopes. They have the same dreams. But when I looked, like the summer home that I lived in, it had 14 bedrooms. And so, I mean, guys, this is, you can't, so in saying all that, I was like, wow, it is possible. And we go to a restaurant, okay, in my life, the Gardner family, we read the menus right to left, price, and then back to what it was. The family I nannied for read the menu left to right. What do you want? Because the column doesn't matter. And that little, just remember that. Do you want to read menus right to left or left to right? I say that to people all the time. That's what I mean when I say it. So anyway, so that was my live-in nanny thing, and it's good when you're to learn that and be a servant for someone else. That's very, very humbling. So with all that being said, I needed scholarships, and I played tennis. I was good at it, but not good enough for a scholarship. I danced, but I was no, prima ballerina. I wasn't going to get a scholarship like my sister. So the pageant world was, I did it not to be a title. I did it to make money because the Miss America program is the largest scholarship program for women in the world. And through those scholarships, I never worked a job in college. I doubled up on my caseload, class load. I had a double major. I was able to not be distracted in school. It paid for me to live abroad, study abroad, and go to grad school. And so, yeah, the titles are fun, and I love my crowns. But for me, it was my ticket out. It wasn't my ticket up. And I learned pressure. I learned how different people handled pressure. I learned a lot about grace and being gracious in meeting people. And for me, it was done on a church mouse budget, yet it didn't matter. I didn't have $10,000 gowns like others. You get very, very creative in the heat of the moment. And so going to Miss Virginia, being Mrs. North Carolina, it was just an honor and a privilege that I'll never, ever forget.
Well, let's back up, though. Let's back up, because you're a fighter. I mean, you're a fighter in this situation. This is different than the fighter I was talking about before. But, you were runner-up. How old were you? Runner-up Miss Virginia?
Yeah, I was well, in my first run to get to Miss Virginia, I was first runner-up 8 times before I won the crown in the bottom left-hand side of the screen. I was 19 years old, and I talked about, always the bridesmaid, never the bride. That was the most cruel punishment I've ever put myself through. But here's the funny part. I made more money that year being first runner-up all those times than any of the girls that won the crown, because I kept collecting and was able to keep competing. So even though that was a real tough pill to swallow, it made me a much stronger person, but it gave me a lot more character and a lot more, graciousness under fire. I have a very soft spot for people that get to the finish line and then you have no idea how underdog crazy I am to get people where they need to be, because I've been there, and I've been there publicly, humiliated, like people thinking I was going to win, and first runner-up. So anyway.
And then you got to smile and act like you like it.
Oh, totally. It's all in how you handle it. And when I got to Miss Virginia, the funny thing is when I got on a bigger stage and having been through that, had I not been through that, I wouldn't have placed as well in Miss Virginia, which is one of the most fierce competitions. There are like 40 contestants in that state. It's huge. It's not like some other ones where there's 3, So anyway, so I was Miss Roanoke, which is a huge pageant. That was my first one. Then I was the hometown hero in Martinsville, Henry County, and I was first runner-up to my hometown pageant twice. And I almost didn't compete in '95 because that humiliation was awful. And I got that. And then after I had Carter, I was asked to be in the Mrs. North Carolina pageant, and that was a lot of fun too.
Wow! And so then you were Mrs. North Carolina, right?
Yeah, and that was the portrait they did of me in the bottom right corner for that. Yeah, but anyway.
You finally got first place. Boom! You made it.
So it's all good. But that was that, because people ask me about that all the time. But here's what that did. That made me no longer afraid to put myself out there and not hide behind some giant styrofoam heart costume with tap shoes on. It got me to where I had confidence to go, maybe I could help inspire other girls. Maybe I could help a company make a little bit of extra money. I became a spokesperson at a young age for different businesses. I've filmed commercials. You can see me on different sets doing that, talking to the news, really getting it out there that you can have fun and help somebody else do well in their business just by putting some elbow grease to it. So that's kind of what those pictures are. I went to Nashville, made a demo tape, and my parents were like, you need to get your butt back home and get back to school. But I'm so glad that I did, because I love to sing and entertain. So those are just some other things. It's been a really, really big.
Well, you lived in Australia. You lived in, didn't you live in, which part of Colorado? Was it?
Yeah, I studied at the University of Sydney in Australia. I used my monies and got a scholarship to go there, studied economics. I lived in Steamboat Springs right after college for 6 years, and that was where I made my mark, got exposed to real estate. We'll talk about that in a minute. I was an interior designer there, and prior to that, I did teach school for a year in Jamaica. I lived with a Jamaican family in the poorest fishing village in all the West Indies. I taught public school. I taught elementary math and reading to children that had illiterate parents. And that was the hardest and most amazing thing I've ever done.
Wow.
Yeah.
The Renaissance woman.
No, but I mean, it was just, again, it was putting yourself out there. Now, we'll go back. Everybody thinks I kind of had it all. And this is going to be tough for me, but you told me to say it, so I'm just going to say it. I was in my early mid-20s, and finding my way through the world, and was dating someone that I thought was wonderful. And the little jabs started coming of, why are you wearing that? Are you really going to eat that? Someone that I thought was saying things out of love or caring, or what are you doing talking to that person? I had such a dream, family life, happiness, that I could not fathom someone that I cared about would be doing these things to hurt me. I thought, well, maybe he's being so protective because he loves me. That evolved into severe emotional abuse, verbal abuse, and then it got physical. And when I say physical, it got horribly physical. And I was so embarrassed and ashamed that I wouldn't tell my family, because I couldn't believe. I thought, what will people think of me? I'm supposed to be the one. I'm supposed to be the champion. And I'm letting this person tear me apart, and I'm taking it. I'm letting it happen. And it happens in such a way that I thought, well, if I could be prettier, if I could make more money, if I could be more successful, then we won't have these episodes. He won't be like this, because he wasn't like that at the beginning. And it absolutely destroyed me, and it culminated in me finally getting the courage to leave. And I was tracked down like a dog, and thank goodness I survived the attack, and it killed my family. It shattered my family, and it shattered me. It shattered my family financially, emotionally. They felt like they let me down, that I felt I couldn't tell them. I felt like I humiliated them and let them down, because now I've bankrupted my family in medical bills, and I wasn't the person that everybody thought I was. I was weak and a pile of mush. And he destroyed me financially. I had a very successful business. So I come crawling back home to Martinsville, and it took, and my dad said, what do you want to do? He goes, you always wanted to be a race car driver when you were a kid. So at 29 years old, I rebuilt my life, and I started racing cars. And if you want to learn what you're made of, get behind the wheel of a car and have at it. It's a whole lot different if you think, you got people all around you wanting to take you out. It was the best thing in the world to rebuild my confidence, laugh at myself. It was something me and my family did. Those are some of my race cars. And here I was just acting like a complete idiot at 29 years old. And it rebuilt my confidence, and of me, I don't know, of getting my sense of humor back.
And I don't think a lot of people, I didn't even know you were going to go there. And, a lot of people don't know this stuff. And you told me this stuff a long time ago when I first met you, when you're at my house in Park City, and you were telling me about these things, and I was just like, I was like, oh my gosh, and I couldn't believe it. And you did a great job of, no one's going to blame you for getting emotional, but like how you held it back right now, and all the things you went through in your 20s. You're the beauty queen, all of these things, the pageants, everything awesome. Everyone looked at you, and then you had all these things going on, and just never know where people are coming from. Everybody out there, so many people are not in a spot where they want to be. They're your friends, they're whatever, but there's certainly things going on for them that you may not know about. You know,
Yeah.
I took the money. I took, like, someone left their ATM thing. You know what I mean? Like the little you pull it out and there's the ATM, and I grabbed it. I was looking at it and I was like, it said the guy had, like, I don't know who, a guy or girl, whoever it was, they had like $4 in their bank account. You know what I mean? You're just like, you never know what's going on with somebody. You know, it's like,
yeah.
So be ready. I mean, be ready to help people, and I appreciate you sharing that with them. And yeah, so.
But tell me, it's got a happy ending. This is what's great, is it's all in how you pick up the pieces. So now I'm in my 30s. I'm not married. I'm the only one of my friends that isn't married. I've got these battle wounds, literally scars on my body that people ask me about now, and I'm able to tell them I survived something horrific, and I'm all the better for it. Instead of hiding them now, I'm just kind of like, yeah, that crap happened. So I go into real estate, and the reason why I did was because I could have my own hours. Nobody was my boss. I could really help people do something. People get very emotional and excited about homes, and I was in the right place at the right time. And so here I go. I go into the real estate market, and by the time, 2005 came around, I was nominated for Businesswoman of the Year in Charlotte. I had created this empire, and I just started by myself. And the only reason that empire happened was because this is where I learned about networking. If you bought a property from me, I promise you, I would make it fun, and I really treated you like I wanted someone to treat me. And I started jumping into your network. Who else do you know that's looking to move up or downsize or right size or has a relative moving into town? I don't want, to be dealing with strangers. I love dealing with you, so I know you're friends. We would all get along. And I didn't realize I was networking and created the biggest real estate business on the East Coast, and was vetted by Forbes magazine. And they have a research company called Goldline Research, and they ranked us #1. And that was in December of 2008. And that was just the pinnacle of everything. Life could not be any better. And then 2009 hit. I was in the epicenter of the bank collapse here in Charlotte. Wachovia collapsed. First Union collapsed. Bank of America collapsed. I had gotten so big, I'd gotten into developing. I had personally guaranteed 3 developments. We had done it in the past. It wasn't a problem. And the builders that we had pre-sold the lot to, they were financial train wrecks, and we didn't know it. And they couldn't perform and build homes. Banks started calling notes and said, you're done. We're done. We don't have faith in this development anymore. Things totally out of my control came down, and I went from the penthouse to the outhouse overnight. And a dear friend of mine asked me to look at a network marketing business. She had no idea the financial turmoil, absolute bankruptcy we were facing.
What was her approach to you? Like, what did she say? She walk up and say, what did she do? How did it really go down?
This is how it went down. If it hadn't been her, I don't know if I would have listened to anybody else, because people were trying to get me to do everything. Waterless car wash, medicinal lollipops. That was the dumbest thing I ever heard. And all this other stuff. And she was my #1 source of referrals. So understand, she was a huge part of my success inadvertently. And she just said, look, Mike and I have come across something, and it's really gotten our attention, and it isn't stupid. It isn't one of those things. But people are becoming successful in our backyard, and neither one of us knew about it. My publishing business is suffering, and I know your real estate cannot be where it used to be. Come down to my house day after tomorrow. We're going to have lunch. We're going to talk, and I can't wait to see you. Do not miss this. And I said, Barbara, what? Can you tell me anything? She goes, it's going to be fun. I love you. You trust me. I'll see you Friday. Can't wait. Goodbye.
Good. I love that.
When I was driving to her house, this is what was going through my mind. I'm going down there to look at a bunch of jewelry, and I'm going to buy a bunch of jewelry that I can't afford because I love her, and then I'm just going to re-gift it to people at Christmas. It was December the 5th of 2009. This magazine of the, it was December the 5th, 2008. And that was when I was exposed to network marketing in her living room in a little presentation. And the magazine had just come out, and the magazine was coming out, and our whole world was collapsing, and no one knew it. So we looked picture perfect. And the sweater was unraveling faster than we could knit it back. So that's how I got into network marketing.
And I want to say something here, Woodson, because what you said is, you probably don't, she said the lady related to herself, though. She said, my business isn't doing so, our publishing business isn't doing so great, and, I know real estate's whatever, so you got to see this, and created curiosity in that invite, and never said that you're going to go see XYZ business. Never said it.
Yeah.
If you say it, you're going to end up giving it all away, and it's not you're trying to hide something. You just need to get the meeting. So if you're doing that on text, do that, okay? Don't give it away so when they're there, they can actually get a good educational look at it versus come in with all these. And you were already thinking jewelry and all these different things. That's okay. But you didn't know exactly what it was.
No, and I go down to her house. Stone was 2 years old. Carter was an infant. And I thought, I am starting. Before, when I'd started over, it was me. I've lived on macaroni and cheese and crappy generic bologna and a loaf of bread. I've done it. I'm not too proud to do it. I'll do it again. That's not the issue. I'm a scrappy fighter. But having children in the mix, it terrified me. And so when I saw that network marketing could offer leverage and give me freedom to be with my family, I said, and I didn't have to outlay hundreds of thousands of dollars, because for me to do those franchises, it was over $850,000 that I had invested in my business. And here people can have a way bigger upside, make millions, and put out $1,500. I mean, I could not comprehend that you could have that big of an upside on that minimal of a risk. So when people talk to me about that, I have to educate them, on how business works, but it breaks my heart that they're that small-minded. And it's not their fault. It's that they just don't know. They just don't know what's on the other side. And so this is my family. We have a lot of fun. This business has afforded us, for our children, to have stamps in their passport booklets from all over the world. That didn't happen in real estate. That wasn't going to happen at being an interior designer, things like that. And my family is everything to me. And the picture of all of us at the bottom with my mom and dad, my sister, my brother, and their families, we're all in this together. And they stood by me at my darkest time, and I spend every day figuring out how to build them up and make them just their dreams become a reality. Not that I'm towing the line for them, but when you've been torn down, you always want to give back, because I always build other people up because I know what it's like to be torn down. And all of us have been torn down. So that's where, when you were talking about being a giver, that's what this is all about. And so now we just transition into Ariix. Ariix saved my health. It saved my life. I've never felt so good. I've never felt so alive. I'm not Speaker Woodson or, oh, are you Z Woodson? No, I'm just Woodson. I'm the dumb kid from a little southern town who just figured some things out. I've never been afraid to kind of stick my neck out for an adventure and something that was good, just really good. And I want to share this with people. And this is what happened this summer to me. I decided to just take what we have seriously. I didn't do any sit-ups. I didn't run 5 miles. I didn't lift a single weight. I learned that you can't outrun your fork. What you eat in private, you wear in public. And that's my new mantra. Hey, what you're eating in private, you're wearing in public. And I want people to feel this good.
That's awesome.
I just want more people to have.
Story, like, you keep that picture, because go back to that, because like, you were in Ariix for over a year and kind of like fuddled around with the product, and
Yeah, I was a business.
You had your days where you were in and kind of out, and like I was like, where's Woodson been? And you had things going on, and because you guys came from a pretty devastating situation where you were making a lot of money, and all of a sudden, bam, it's gone, and then you start over, and you're not going to be making that type of income starting over, and so. You guys went through a lot, and it's a lot of respect to all of you, everyone that came over here, and and you guys were not in a part of nutrition, you know, like you weren't a part of
Oh gosh, no.
anything like this, right? You were probably anti. Matter of fact,
Yeah,
would you just because a lot of people, you know, I had people prospecting me at this event I was at. I was like, dude, get your jewelry away from me, buddy. I don't want to hear about it. Right? I was like, and so they'll say things like, you know, potions and lotions and all of these different types of things, and garage qualified, and you know, it's interesting that I've always heard this over the years from people. Like that's like, in other words, if someone is marketing, you know, some kind of a service, like maybe electric service or whatever, blah 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 blah, they'll say, you know, you have cupboards full of products and inventories, and I'm like, I don't know what planet you're from, but I barely have enough products for my own house. So like, I don't know what you're talking about. But what's your perspective on that? Because you used to probably stake some of those things.
Oh,
and then,
did I ever?
And then,
they have recordings of me in front of thousands of people. I mean, like literally in front of crowds of thousands. No pills, no potions, no lotions, no inventory. You know, no product. You know, all this stuff. And that was our mantra. And I realized that was the reason why our business. Now I look back, that's why it was fragile. That's why there was nothing in it that felt good. There was nothing in it emotional. And hey, we were helping people make money, but we weren't changing their life. And now when people confront me with that, going, hey, I saw this, or I remember you saying that, I'm like, heck yeah, I did. And I'm so thankful that collapse happened, that once again, practically it bankrupted us because our lifestyle rose to the occasion. Like I was very arrogant. Went from nothing to making millions in real estate, lost everything. Went from nothing to making millions in network marketing, and then they didn't pay us because the company shut down and we didn't get paid. And our lifestyle rose to the occasion of that opportunity. And so even though we were making a lot of money, we were living paycheck to paycheck. It was the stupidest thing ever. So we downsized. We live well below our means. But you know what? We're happy. We're happier than we've ever been because now I realize the stuff doesn't matter. How I feel inside, having good health, having healthy kids. I had no idea that us just living in the 21st century, I was like poisoning our children. Having a healthy husband, helping other people who, like, when someone calls you and they're crying because they just tied their shoe for the first time since, like, college, guys, wild horses couldn't drag me away from this. Never, ever, ever. Helping somebody, go to the doctor and get a healthy report just because you helped educate them on stuff they're doing every day and empowered them to go change other people's lives. It's incredible. We need more stories like this. We need more pictures. We need more people being an ambassador for everything that we're about. And now I'm an Ariix, and this is it. I don't care what comes along. I don't care what people tell me. I don't care what is out there. These people took care of me and believed in me and changed my health and made me more financially responsible than I've ever been in my life. They saved my life in a couple of different ways. They saved my physical health. I know they did. There's no doubt about it. You can see it, but I know how I feel. But they introduced me to the finest people I've ever met in my life. If I was stranded on the side of the road today or in the middle of the night, I don't know if there might have been one or two people I could call in a previous life. In my Ariix life, I can tell you right now, 2025. Not only would they be there, they'd drop what they were doing, they would give me things before they would take care of themselves. I've never experienced anything like it. They poured their guts into me and helped me rebuild myself for the final chapter. And that's why I'm so emblazoned, crazy, happy with what we're doing. And I'm sorry I've mushed and gushed on, but this isn't about me. This is about anybody can have this story. And I am just as regular as anybody, and I'm probably the most screwed up person most of y'all have ever heard of. So now you know. And
you're not at all. We're all like, I'm gathering. I've got so many stories. I mean, I'm going to be using all your stories like left, right, and center. This is why you always go to trainings. People that skip, I know we skipped last week. We're not going to do that again, all right, because we're traveling. But I'm telling you, you don't skip training because you come and you get plugged in. You hear another story. You do it. You hear another situation that you can relate to, and you find a reason to talk to somebody else about the business, about the products. And, by the way, everybody, network marketing, just so you know, is not a wealth creating business. It's a cash generating business. And what you do with that cash is ultimately, what will build the wealth. So if you go out and buy a bunch of flashy cars that you really can't afford, I know a lot of people do that stuff. A lot of companies promote that stuff. I think it's not good. I don't think it's good because, when you look at it, people are not able to they're not really affording those cars. And so you got to look at all these things, okay? I know I may be a little controversial on that, but I've had the $250,000 a year income and have no money to show for it. So I understand it. I'm talking to you.
I have too.
And so,
I've had the exotic cars.
Wake up. I mean, look at where you're at. You think you're making money, okay? Put 1/3 of your money. If you make your check, put 1/3 into your taxes, 1/3 back into your business, and then the other third, that's what you're actually earning, okay? So there's your income, all right? And a lot of us, get ahead of ourselves, and we blah, 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 I'll make more, blah, 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 and that doesn't work. So remember, network marketing is not a wealth building, it's not a wealth creation business. And some people say, well, what are you talking about, Steve? It's a cash generation business. It can generate a lot of cash. What you do with that cash is ultimately going to determine your success, or you're just going to become a slave to network marketing.
Trust Steve on this, and trust me on this. That's why I'm so thankful.
The reason to trust me is because I've lived it.
I have too.
It's embarrassing, but it happens because no one really teaches this stuff. So we're going to be teaching financial. We're not going to tell you where to invest, but we're going to give you some ideas of some things you should be thinking about and doing with your money so that you actually have it, all right? So you and the IRS are going to become pen pals, okay? So, you can be pen pal from prison. So anyway, no, but I mean, just, Woodson, what you've shared here today is amazing. I know you're up there in the picture with Fred and Deanna. You would be, that was hilarious. I mean, that was horrible because that was hilarious and horrible. I know your husband who's out playing with kids.
My husband broke his shoulder the night before the elite retreat and was in surgery while I was taking that picture in Cancun. And no, I'm not a horrible wife. He said, there's something you could do for me here. Go. And it turned into a really funny story that we'll never let anybody live down. So my dates for the night were Deanna, and then I asked Jennifer Cooper if I could borrow Fred for the photo.
So funny, man. And so, well, we had a good time there, and Woodson, you've just been amazing, and you're gonna be one of the the biggest leaders in the company and in the industry, and I just know it. And your story's amazing. Use it to your advantage. I don't know anybody who works harder than Woodson. I don't know anybody. Who works harder. He's driving across the country, building relationships. And we were just out in Salt Lake City just about a week ago. And the reason is you're out there and you're learning about the people that are going from average to leader, right? And from leader to legend. And you're looking at these folks and you're seeing who they are and they're seeing who you are and you're building relationships. This business is not built by sending someone a link. Okay, send me a link and let me sign up with you. Oh, I don't want to talk to anybody. If you were even able to accomplish that, right, where you could just send links to people and they're just going to sign up on your side and you're going to get enrollments and you're not going to talk to anybody, if you're in network marketing, I'm telling you straight up, you're never going to make any money long term. You're going to have the most affordable business ever. And I'm the one that generated leads on the internet and know how to have done it for years. I'm not even really doing it that much now, but it's all about generating relationships and investing in your time. I just spent, when I was at the 6- and 7-figure summit, I ran in. I didn't even know. I ran into 2 people from my previous company. One was one of the top 5 guys. I actually just went and found a seat, and I look over to my right, and I'm like, what the heck are you doing here? So we're talking, and so we started talking. The other one was my #1 income earner. He was there. We're still friends today. He's not joining Ariix. He doesn't even, he's completely retired. It's not about that, right? But it's because we have a relationship that we hung out all night, talked, hung out, friends, all of that, okay? And so, it's just that's what this kind of business, and we'll be friends for life forever. And, like if he was stranded on the side of the road, I'd drive by, he called me right now, I'd be like, okay, I'm coming, right? Like, it's no problem. all right? And so build those relationships. And while we were out there, Woodson, we discovered something by talking to Winham, and we were trying to tell him about his system, X-Office and things.
This changed my whole business, is what you
Yeah, he slapped us in the head, man. He slapped us in the head big time. Why don't you tell him a little bit about it? And something that people need to go look at and investigate in their business, and it's something that we can all correct. So, and then we're going to leave off with you guys. So I know it's a little bit we're going on, but you know what? This is incredible stuff. So go ahead.
All right. Here we go. We wanted to know why, and let me know when it pops up on.
It's up. It's up. It's good.
Oh, is it up? Okay. That we were trying to figure out how is China just going crazy, and Winhen says you're not even using the tool in your back office that we have. I was like, what? I said, what are you talking about? He said, China builds all of their momentum on, do you have 4? Do you have team lead bonus? And I was like, okay. And he says, the reason why we put this in your back office, if you look underneath your dashboard, team lead bonus is right there. They put that in X office specifically because of what's going on in Asia, in China, and now in Japan. And everybody, are you team lead qualified? And then all of the people in your business, you'll start seeing these big green check marks. That means they are qualified with their auto ship. And so here's the deal. And they're team lead qualified. So your whole goal is to have as many big green block chunks in your business. That's how you gauge the health and the longevity of your business. They accept no excuses. Everybody over there, for you to be building a business, you got to be team lead qualified. And all that is 4. And so with that being said,
yeah.
Go ahead.
And here's how you can drill down into your team. If you clicked on, I just put a couple people from mine, but I didn't keep going through it, and I don't want to expose everyone's businesses and stuff because that's not really cool. Even this is kind of a little bit too much. But if you click on my name or whatever, this is just a screenshot. Then it would break down the 16 that I have, right?
Yes.
Or the 30 that I had, or whatever it was, or 16 in this case. So then it would show those 16, and you would want each one of those 16 to be green. When you have all of those green, you're good. If you go and you click on that and it's all black, you're like, huh, well, we got some stuff. You got some people to either call and find out are they in and do they want to get their 4. And if not, you got to go get more. You got to go get a new 16 or whatever it is, right? I mean, some of my 16 have 35, you know what I mean, whatever. So when you click on the distributor ID, you'll see, because this is in your back office in X office. It's right there on the dashboard. Scroll down and you'll see market 1, market 2, market 3. They just put the first 3 markets, meaning the first 3 levels, generations for matching and stuff. So basically, you got your team lead bonus. You click on that. If it's all black, then you got some work to do. All right, we all do.
Yeah.
So let's keep it really simple.
Your business is fragile, and you don't have a long-term business. This is the business. It's right here. This is the foundation. I can't stress it enough. Are you team lead qualified?
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
It's the first
are
bonus.
You team lead qualified, and are your people team lead qualified? And from there, the business builds. So gold status or silver status, get it done. Doesn't matter to me if you're gold or not. Just get qualified. This is going to be our mantra for 2015. Are you going to convention? How much green's in your back office?
Yeah, I'm almost thinking of the green zone or something, we got to
yeah, we need to come up with something.
Green zone. I mean, you got to be in the green zone, right? And 4 people, just so you guys are very clear on this team lead bonus, what it actually is. What it means is that you have 4 people, not customers. You're going to have those, but you're not leading your customers, right? So a team lead, right? You're leading a team, right? Let's think of the definition of that. So your team lead means that you have 4 people that Steve Schwartz personally is the sponsor of on auto delivery of 75 points at least, okay? I have 4 people that have done that. They've joined the business. Actually, just that. I have 4 people that I've enrolled that are on auto delivery. That's team lead bonus. I'm good to go, okay? During a 4-week period, so I could have one, this is week 48, so I could have one in week 48, week 49, week 50, week 51. I could have them all in the same week. It doesn't matter. I just have to have 4 during the 4-week calendar that I sponsored. Then I'm team lead bonus. When you see there's 16, I have 16 people that are on auto delivery that I personally sponsored, okay? And so But then what I want to make sure is each one of those 16 has their 4. That's when you have your healthy business. And so some of those people that you would click on, they'll have, I have one person, they have nobody. I'm like, we got to fix that. And that's why they don't make much money, because no one's ordering any products, no one's building any business, no one's doing anything. And so we've got to get that fixed. And so that's where you have to look at it. And so team lead is you have 4 people on auto delivery. Gold status means that you unlock the first 3 generations of matching bonus forever. And if you do it in the first 8 weeks, you're gold status, meaning that you enrolled somebody, they came in for the minimum of 150 volume points and a bot, right? So that's probably about $230. And then they have an auto delivery hit once. We want them to keep having it, but they hit once. That qualifies you as gold status and unlocks the first 3 generations of matching bonus forever, right? If you don't hit that in the first 8 weeks, then you must make sure that you have 4 people that you sponsored, they qualify, they sponsored, and then they're on auto delivery every 4 weeks. So they have to keep, you keep them on auto delivery, have at least 4, then you're silver status, and that's the only way that you can unlock the first 3 generations of matching bonus. If not, then you get compressed up, and so you basically get bypassed on the matching bonus until you have those 4 people, okay, that you sponsored into the business, and they're on auto delivery. Those are reps, not customers, okay? That means you're gold status or silver status. Gold status is the first 8 weeks, get it done, just get it done. And then if not, then you silver status. So whether you miss gold status, you want to be silver status because you still make the same money, okay? So I don't know if that's clear to everybody. I think sometimes people get confused on these team lead and silver.
What we'll do is we'll do a training around it and really break it down into super simple steps.
Yep. But just think of 4 people. You got to have 4 people. Boom. Get it done, and get every one of your team to have 4 people. Some are going to get more.
And don't let your minimums be your maximums. Yeah. Don't let your minimums be your maximums. Get your 4. Help your team get 4, and then you shoot for 8. Look, Steve had 16. You shoot for way more than that. So then you always know you've got your status, your team lead, a healthy business, and you're leading by example. Because you don't want your team to just have 4. You want your team to each have 10, 12, 20. So it starts with you. Get your 4, help them get their 4, and you keep getting others. And that will create a very healthy, thriving culture in your business. And with that, Steve, I think we're done.
Yep, absolutely. And everyone you enroll is not a destination. So if I sign up Woodson, she's not my destination. She's a doorway to other people. The people that get sponsored by you, they may not become the big leaders, but they'll lead you to somebody who will become your leader. It's usually in depth in this type of a business. And so, just think about that as well. And you guys go get your 4, get it going, and have some real conversation with people. Say, you know what, you may want to see this. You're going to be around family this weekend. You're going to be around family over Thanksgiving. So you guys have a great Thanksgiving in the U.S., here in the United States. Have a great Thanksgiving, and then we'll see you next Saturday.
Woo! It's going to be awesome. Thank you, Steve, and thank you, everybody, for being so kind and so sweet and listening to me go on and on and on. I appreciate it.
Well, Woodson, your story is amazing. People out there, everybody out there, just take something from there and find a reason to talk to somebody, and create that curiosity and use your text messages. Keep doing that. Texting is so easy to set up an appointment. So everybody, have a great Saturday. We'll talk to you soon. Thanks so much, Woodson.
Bye, y'all. Thank you, Steve.